Sports performance anxiety can happen at any level. As a matter of fact, as a sports psychology coach for 45 years, I've worked with athletes at the high school level, the college level, the professional level, in every sport you can imagine. I'll tell you a few stories today. But one of the things that runs true in every sport, no matter what it is, BMX, clay pigeon shooting as a professional, basketball, baseball, you name it, there are individuals, many individuals, regardless of how high they've reached in the world of accomplishment, that will have sports performance anxiety. As a matter of fact, Steph Curry, the star for the Golden State Warriors, had this amazing quote on the internet the other day saying, "I get extremely anxious sport performance anxiety before every game." And then he said the key, and this is what we teach in our work, "But I've learned to turn that energy into excitement." And that's the key with any kind of sports performance anxiety, is that we have to look at, I'll give you a series of steps that we take, but we've got to look at those things that are creating the anxiety, and then we have to turn them somehow. It's called transmutation. We have to transmute that anxiety about the sport into excitement about the sport. Now listen to the analogy I'm going to give you right now. When people come to me to learn to become public speakers, we've been teaching people, I've been a public speaker for 45 years, we've been teaching people for 30 years how to become a public speaker. The very first thing we do is we talk about anxiety and nervousness and the pit in your stomach. You know, Gallup poll constantly comes out with surveys stating that the fear of public speaking is higher than the fear of death, for God's sake. You know, so individuals have this incredibly mixed up view of what it means to be a public speaker and how to become one. But one of the greatest tools I teach them is something I learned 45 years ago. When we do something over and over and over again with the right methodology, those things that used to create anxiety and nervousness turn into passion and excitement. So when I first started public speaking, I was anxious. I was nervous. I'd stand behind the stage, even if it was just to a Rotary Club, for God's sake, and I'd be rehearsing my speech. This is a long time ago, but I can remember it. And I was anxious and nervous, right? And then I learned that I could turn that anxiety and nervousness into excitement. Like, I can't wait to get up on stage. I can't wait to share this message. I can't wait to help people heal, right? So we can turn that sports performance anxiety, just like the public speaking anxiety, into an advantage for us. Now, before I speak, if I'm speaking at noon, oh my God, at 10 in the morning, I'm there, oh, I wish I could speak right now. At 10:15, God, I want to be on stage. We've turned that anxiety into excitement. And we do the same thing with sports. You know, we've worked with BMX riders. I had a golfer, a putter, and his big thing was putting, right? And so he would go up, and right away in his subconscious mind, messages were going through. This is going to be a tough putt. This is the weakest part of my game. Like he was self-talking himself into sabotage. I've worked with clay pigeon professionals, right, that had all of their skills were perfect. They had hired coaches to make sure that their shooting was perfect, because I don't know anything about that part of it. But in 8 weeks, we radically changed this person, because he would turn into a practice player A+, but when he got to a tournament, he might be a C+ or a B. That's all radically changed once we've understood sports performance anxiety. And the first step we do is we find out, where did it begin? How did it begin? You know, I remember working with a college hitter once, a phenomenal hitter. But when he got up against left-handed pitchers, he would suck. And when we went and found the origin of what's going on, like what's happening, and thank God for him, there weren't a lot of left-handed pitchers, right? But we found out that in Little League, he was constantly hit by left-handed pitchers. So he had grown this phobia that he wasn't skilled enough with left-handed pitchers, because they're probably going to hit him anyway. Well, that's called sports performance anxiety, and we found the origin. Removing the origin and inserting other things is easier once we find the origin. Individuals, athletes from every walk of life at some point are going to face sports performance anxiety. Kyrie Irving, another story. He was traded from Boston to Dallas. He didn't have a good time in Boston. And before the Boston game, I mean, he predicted what was going to happen. He said, I'm scared. I'm nervous to go back to the Boston Gardens. These fans hate me. They're going to be all over me. And sure enough, he had a terrible game. Sports performance anxiety. We work with everyone. Go to talkdavid.com. We have 5 free books there that you can pick up on every topic that you can imagine, and do the work. You can turn the anxiety into excitement. This is the Mental Cleanse with David Essel. And remember, the most important point I can tell you, when you cleanse your mind, in this case of sports performance anxiety, you cleanse your life. I hope you have a beautiful day. I'm David Essel, the website talkdavid.com.